So we're going to do a quick video here going through all the different types of problems you are going to see on your quiz check 7. So the first type of problem that you are going to see is something with the quadratic formula. So the first thing that you need to know obviously is what the quadratic formula is. So if you do not have this down in your notes, make sure you have it. Okay, so x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Some other reminders with the quadratic formula is that we always want to make sure that it is set equal to 0. So make sure you're set equal to 0. And then you're going to start finding your numbers to plug in. So let's say we have x squared plus 8x plus 5 equals 0. This is in the correct form. So a equals 1, b equals 8, c equals 5. So we will start plugging in. We will say negative b, so negative 8, plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times, that's a positive 5, times c, which is 5, all over 2 times 1. Then we're going to take our calculator and we are going to do everything underneath the square root. Okay, and so we will get negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 44 all over 2. Then we're going to take the square root of 44 in our calculator, and that gives us a big old long decimal, which means the square root of 44 is not a perfect square, and we therefore have to simplify the square root of 44. So I'm going to start prime factoring. Okay, so I get a square root of 2 times 11. So this 2 comes out in front because I have a pair. Okay, so now I know that my square root of 44 is the same thing as 2 square root 11. So now I have negative 8 plus or minus 2 square root 11 all over 2. And then I'm going to look at all my outside numbers. That's not a good color to highlight that with. So I'm going to look at all of these outside numbers, and I'm going to see if I can reduce them by anything. And I can reduce those all by 2. So each of those numbers is going to get divided by 2. So negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I could put it all over 1, but I don't have to. Okay, and that would be my final answer. Now, there's a video in the actual quiz that will show you how to type in this answer. Okay, how to make that long fraction bar. But if you can't figure it out, just make sure you have all your work and then upload your work so that I can see that answer clearly. The next type of problem that you are going to have is about finding the vertex. So let's say we have something like y equals negative x squared plus 10x minus 14. And we want to find the vertex. Remember, to find the vertex, our formula is x equals negative b over 2a. So that means we need a and b at least. So in this problem, a equals negative 1 and b equals 10. Okay, so negative b is going to be negative 10 over 2 times a, which is negative 1. So negative 10 over negative 2 gives us a positive 5. Remember, that is our x value of our vertex. To find our y value, we are going to have to plug that back in for both of the x's. So we'll say negative. Again, the only thing that goes in parentheses is the number that we are plugging in. So don't put that negative in parentheses because it was part of the equation. And then you can just use your calculator to help you. So negative parenthesis 5 close parenthesis squared plus 10 times 5 minus 14. And our calculator tells us 11. So on your quiz, you will see a blank, comma, a blank. So you would type in 5, and then you would type in 11. You will then have a problem that asks about identifying if the parabola has a maximum or a minimum. Remember, when we are looking at this, it's all determined by a. So let's say we have y equals negative 3x squared minus 7x plus 4. This a value right here is how we determine if the parabola opens up or down. Okay, so that is a negative 3 is the a value. And when the a value is negative, that means our parabola opens down. So does this type of parabola have a high point or does it have a low point? And hopefully we would agree that it has a high point. So we would say that this has a maximum. Okay, if the parabola opened upwards, we would say that it had a minimum. The last thing you are going to see is something that asks you to find the vertex when the quadratic is already in vertex form. Okay, so maybe we're given y equals, and then we have x minus 7 squared minus 2. So if we want to find the vertex on this one, remember we are doing h comma k. So our h value is here. That was a terrible. And our k value is here. We always need to take the opposite sign of h. So our vertex again is h comma k, where we are taking the opposite sign of h. So it looks like a negative 7, but I am going to write it down as a positive 7. Now the k stays the same, so it looks like a negative 2, so I'm going to keep it as a negative 2. So that one will also be fill in the blank. You will just fill in the blanks with the correct values.